there's an interesting dynamic playing off in South Africa specifically, and people are. It's almost like they're moving from crisis to crisis to crisis. We've got load shedding, we've got the global politics making issues, banks closing. There's a lot of issues, and people, I think, are looking towards leaders to help them guide through these difficult times. Today, I've got Dumo Mbethe with me, who's the CEO of Momentum Corporate, and one of our industry leaders that we look to give us answers and advice around this topic. Dumo, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chris, and good afternoon to all of your viewers, your readers, and your listeners. Yeah, so Chris, very valid points around a world in a continuous state of crisis. And in our Partnership Connect research, we actually found that businesses have been quite resilient. In fact, about 80% of businesses showed very strong levels of resilience. That's probably reflected in some of the company results we've been seeing across the market in South Africa. But that probably masks a lot of the underlying challenges. South Africans generally make a plan, and we are able to get through very difficult situations. But what our research did show us is that leaders, particularly, have found it quite challenging to lead during these times. I think leaders scored themselves about 5.9 out of 10 when it comes to just how difficult it has been to lead during these times. And I think this goes back to an analogy I like to use just around the oxygen mask. It's important that the leaders actually put the oxygen mask on themselves before they look at assisting their neighbor in the seat next door. We hear it all the time when we get on the planes, and I think it is so apt in this particular scenario where leaders have spent so much time taking care of the businesses that they look after, their teams, their families, and very often, neglecting their own well-being. So we have found that there is an increasing need for leaders to be a lot more deliberate around taking care of themselves, watering this garden that is you, to make sure that you are actually at your best and in your best space to be, effective in guiding our businesses through these times. And this does mean taking a bit of a time out now and then, trying as far as possible to avoid sending emails on weekends. And I think that also helps to ensure that you don't have that knock-on impact where the email that you have sent as a leader now causes all manner of stress and strain in the rest of the business. But really just taking some time out and acknowledging our humanity. It's actually okay to acknowledge sometimes that you're not okay. And we're not alone. We've got teams we can lean on. There are other people who can help us through these periods in terms of the thinking as well. Chris, there's no user manual for what people have had to face over the last 3 years. And that's why I do believe leaning on each other is also an important aspect that we can tap into. Now, on the flip side, we've also seen the impact on people's mental and emotional well-being during these times. The impact on employees quite significant, and you can imagine. People have gone through retrenchments. There's a workload that is left. A higher workload for people in workplaces that have undergone such processes. And still that level of uncertainty, and that sits with, will I still have a job tomorrow? Back home, we used to have 2 incomes, now there's 1 income. So I think the strain that people are feeling is real. And there's a significant role that we can play as employee benefits providers in as far as that is concerned. So just to give you an idea, within our funds at work and our group insurance solutions, as Momentum Corporate, we actually provide an employee assistance program as an overlay, which is at no additional cost to members. And here, people can tap into all manner of assistance. Here, I'm talking about legal services, counseling services, services around debt assistance, debt consolidation, credit health and credit health checks, physical well-being services. I mean, a classic example of physical well-being is just even the ergonomics in the work-from-home ecosystem, where you find that the chairs that people are using might not be ideal for the kind of work that they are doing and for sitting and in meetings for long and extended periods of time. We've also had to evolve with the times, making medical care and assistance a lot more accessible. So we've got Hello Doctor. People literally have a doctor on their cell phones via WhatsApp, a phone call. And again, these are tools that are really, ensuring that we are able to give people the support that they need in what is a very, very difficult time.
Right, very interesting. Yeah, and we have the technology and the ability to bring these through to people. And I like what you guys do in terms of the comprehensive reach across the different sort of disciplines. Everything that makes up that individual. And I think that's quite important. All right, that's really interesting. Dumo, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time, and thanks. We'll chat again soon.
Thank you, Chris. Much appreciated.
Ciao.